So with the election only a couple days away, we polled you back in September, and here is your results on how you would be voting for the next presidential candidate. Hey everyone, Chris here for the Rideshare Guy, and today we're going to be talking about what you had responded in your results on whether you'd be voting for Biden or Trump, how your vote's going to differ from maybe 2016 to 2020, and a few other things, as well as looking at some of the things and quotes that you have said, and we're going to be doing that right now. Now, normally on a poll result type video, I might share my opinions or thoughts on it. In this particular case, I'm actually not going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions. I'm going to leave you with something else when it comes to my wrap up. So make sure you stay to the end for that wrap up. So now this article right here is from the rideshareguy.com, and it was a poll that was given in September and closed on September 30th. So sometimes as polls like to change, these results may differ, but if you have any changes or anything, make sure you put them in the comments below. And remember, please keep it civil. And if you would like to check out this article yourself, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below. It's going to bring you up to this page right here that says, "This election frightens me. Battleground states are voting for Biden." So let's get right into what some of the results are and how we came up with these numbers. So it says, how do rideshare drivers feel about the upcoming presidential election? We conducted an online survey of 1,249 rideshare drivers about the 2020 presidential election between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden, which candidate they would be supporting and why, and how they think the pandemic response is going. So here's what they had to say, and some of the quotes may have been lightly edited for clarity, just as a quick disclaimer. So the first thing, it says, how do rideshare drivers feel about the upcoming presidential election? Again, conducting a survey on 1,249 rideshare drivers throughout the month of September. And it said, we asked the gig workers about the 2020 presidential election and pandemic response. And the first thing it says, voters of the drivers in battleground states. So this is going to include Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, where 51% said they were going to be voting for Biden, while 46% Trump and 3% didn't know. And again, this could always change a little bit, but this is what you had said so far. And then it goes on and says, among rideshare drivers who didn't vote in 2016, but will vote in 2020, 7% are going to vote for Biden and 3% will vote for Trump. And then going on, it says 3% of rideshare drivers who said they were voting for Trump in 2016 reported they're going to switch their vote to Biden in all 50 states. And it says right here, according to a respondent in Indiana who voted for Trump in 2016, plans to vote for him again in 2020, said President Trump uses a business mindset that puts America first. And according to a voter in California who reported voting for Trump in 2016, but will be changing their voting to Biden in 2020, said that, yes, I believe both candidates have shortcomings. I'm essentially a Republican, but have gravitated more to the middle left, primarily due to the income gap between the haves and have-nots. Trump's handling of the pandemic has been criminal, and I think if it was Biden and the Democrats, this pandemic would have been handled differently had they been given a chance. So you can see a couple of different mindsets right there. It also said 2% of respondents said they would be switching from voting Democrat in 2016 to voting Republican in 2020. So if you add those two numbers together, between the 3% that said they were switching from Republican to Democrat and 2% from Democrat to Republican, it's pretty much a wash, and most people are going to probably be sticking to who they voted for in 2016, whether it be Democrat or Republican. So then going on, it says, according to a voter in California who reported voting for Clinton in 2016, but will be voting for Trump in 2020, no one understands economics like Trump. A lot of people you'd never think are going to vote for Trump 2020. And then talking about how the pandemic has been handled, poll also question was, how is Trump handling the COVID-19 and recession? It said 43% of rideshare drivers say best as it could be expected or fantastic, while 49% say bad or awful. And to break that responding of Trump's handling of COVID-19, this is a little bit further of the breakdown. So it says 12% of being fantastic, 31% said best as could be expected, 7% said fair, 7% said bad, and 43% said awful. And then one of the questions that said, which candidate do you feel will best help the needs of Uber, Lyft drivers and gig workers? 40.6% said Trump, 36.6% said Biden, and 22.8% said neither. We're going to look at some of the respondents' positions when it comes to what you're saying. In Nevada, we'll look at one for Trump and we'll look at one for Biden. One for Trump says President Trump has done more for the American people and has accomplished more in the last 3.8 years than Biden has in 47 years. And then the Biden supporter said Trump will always back big business. He has made his life's work stepping on us little guys. Now let's look at another key battleground state, Ohio, where they say 45% are planning on re-electing President Trump. 38% said they're going to vote for Biden, and drivers who will be voting a third party make up 9%. So the first one, who is for Trump, states Trump isn't a politician and seems to know better how to accomplish things than a typical politician does. Going on to the Biden supporter, we are dying out here. I pray someone helps us. And then the third party voter from Ohio stated, I'm voting for Jo Jorgensen because she is the best option and hope for the future of the country. Stop suppressing voters by not saying her name or putting her as an option to vote. And we're going to look at the last state for both Trump and Biden when it comes to how they're going to vote and what they had said. So the driver who is planning on voting for Trump stated, Trump has had more concern for gig workers than any administration in the past since gig workers became known. Had he not been in office when the COVID epidemic hit, I believe we would have been left to fend for ourselves. And then a Biden supporter in North Carolina said, I believe that Biden will get the country out of a mess like Obama did in 2008. So as you can see, there is a lot of different information and a lot more that I didn't cover. So make sure you click the link in the description below and it'll take you to this article where you can see a lot of different results from these people who had responded. And again, this had been taken in September. And if you changed your thoughts or ideas or how you're voting, then make sure you put it in the comments below. But remember, please keep it civil because I know how divisive different things when it comes to politics can actually be. Now, I know there are a lot of votes that have already been cast, whether it's through absentee ballots or through early voting. But for those who are still planning on going out and voting through November 3rd on Election Day, I want to leave you with this last thing. Instead of voting for a particular person based on their party or what you hear in the news on both sides, make sure you look at the issues that they are for and against and vote for what is going to be best for you. Everybody's needs are going to be different and everybody can't be pleased, and there's going to be some give and take all around. But either way, make sure when you look at the candidate for whoever it might be, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's another person who is running for president, check their record on what they want to vote for or against, how they want to vote, and how they want to tackle certain issues, because each issue is going to be different. And don't make it a one issue decision either. Make sure the majority of the decisions are going to be reflective of what you may need in a particular candidate. Now, I'm expecting probably a number of thumbs down on this video, but again, I want to keep it impartial and what your results have been when it came down to it. So if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And, you know, if you have some sort of issue or anything, I guess you can hit the other button. That's okay. But either way, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the Rideshare Guy, because there's new videos every single week on a lot of different topics within the rideshare industry, within news, within what could happen potentially, and probably a lot of things to do with Prop 22, how it's going to be voted for as well, and what it could look like post-election, whether it passes or fails. All right, everyone, drive safe.